Hi, and welcome to another Jen's Jumpstarts videos. Today I wanted to show you a new tool that I just recently purchased. This is an American Crafts punch. This is the Knockouts punch tool. And if you buy the set that comes with this particular tool as well as a punch, this is what you'll get. You'll get an empty tool that looks like a regular border punch, but it's a little bit different. You also get a shape punch. This is a scallop punch, and it comes with a cute little piece that goes on the bottom. Looks like a normal punch. So you want to put it together by this little slit in your punch will go inside the tool like this, and again make sure that slit is facing that way. Now also in the kit are two little plastic inserts, and these are going to go in these two holes here, and this allows you to repeat the pattern when you're punching the border punch. You want to make sure that your scallop is the same direction, and you just put it in the holes like that. Now, the fun thing about this particular tool and the idea behind it is that you can interchange the different shapes. So I got a couple of different other shapes because I like them. This is the zigzag, this is the mini scallop, and this is the stripe and scallop. Now they have additional shapes and they work just like a normal border punch does. Let me show you how you would punch paper with this particular tool. So here's just a sheet of cardstock that I have, and just like any other border punch tool, you can use it in the exact same way. This is how I use it. I turn it upside down and I insert that paper into that slit that I mentioned. And then I just align the paper with the scallop shape or whatever shape I have, and then I just punch. And then I turn it over and I scoot the punch over until it aligns with this particular shape again. See how we inserted that again? That's why it's important to insert it correctly. Just slide it over and then you continue punching, and that's how you create a border punch. So you can see how convenient and fun this tool would be, especially with all the different kinds of border punches they have available. I'm going to go ahead and make a card next to show you how this tool works so well and why you want to have a couple of different border styles for your projects. So let's go ahead and make the card. This is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 white card base, just a pre-purchased base, and I've pre-cut some pattern paper to fit on top of that. This particular paper is from a My Mind's Eye 6x6 pad. I really love 6x6 pads because, as you can see, the patterns are a little bit smaller than what you might find on a 12x12 sheet. So we're going to start with that, and then I am going to use an alphabet stamp from Hero Arts and Studio Calico. They partnered up and created these beautiful stamps, and I love this particular stamp for a background. Now when I'm using a background stamp, I will ink up the stamp pad, and then I place the cardstock on top of the stamp rather than the other way around. And then I just use my fingers or hard surface or a brayer. Actually, in this particular case, I'm just using my adhesive container because it was handy. And you just kind of press the paper into the image, and that will give you a stamped image. So we are going to cut this particular image into a banner shape, a large banner shape. So go ahead and cut that. And I'm just going to eyeball it. You could pre-measure, be a little more specific with it, but this is just how I'm going to do it today. Now to make a banner end, what I'll do is I estimate where the center is on this particular sheet of cardstock, and I will just cut in about 3/4 of an inch, and then I will go from the corner to that cut notch, and then again to the next corner, and that gives me the banner shape. So now when I have a piece of cardstock that I want to distress a little bit, I'll just use a brown ink pad and just drag it along the edges, a little bit more on the corners, and that gives it kind of an aged look. You can use distress inks. This is actually a pigment ink pad. I like the pigment ink because it's a little bit more juicy. So then we will attach this big banner shape onto our card. And we're going to put it a little bit down from the top of the page. And here's where I'm going to use that border shape tool. So again, whatever border shape that you want, and the two little inserts you need to put in, and then you will pick the paper that you want. I'm just using some green cardstock, and using the technique that I showed you, place it inside the notch, turn it over, match up the edges, and punch. Turn it back over, slide it along, and then match up the pattern with the punch that you've already punched, and punch again. It's really important to match up those notches so that the shape continues properly, and you just continue punching. Now once you've done that, we're going to go ahead and add that to the card, so I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it's done being punched. Obviously, if you used a different border style, you would get a different look. This is the scallop that came with the tool, and we're going to trim it off a little bit so that it creates a nice border for the top of our card. And we'll just trim off the ends. So we have a strip like this. And it will face like this on our card, but what we're going to do next is we're going to stamp a sentiment on the top of this. And when I'm stamping a sentiment, I'd like to have a foam core or a foam piece on the bottom of my paper. And then I have my stamp here. It says, "Love you." And then my favorite black ink is this Tuxedo Black from Memento. And we'll just go ahead and ink that up. And this stamp is from Allie Edwards. And we'll go ahead and just stamp that. Now the sentiment is going to go partly off, and that's okay. It doesn't need to be completely on there. It looks like we just kind of did our own handwriting there. That's one thing I love about Allie's stamps. And then we will go ahead and add adhesive to the top of the card and place that on there. Now one designer tip is that, as you can see, we have scallops that run the length of the card, or rather the width of the card. And one designer tip is that you want your scallops to be even on each side. So just make sure as you're placing it down that they're as even as you can get them, and then just trim off the excess from the back. So now you can see why I love border punches so much, is because they just give a nice finished look. A zigzag would be fun, or the striped scallop one would be fun. Let's go ahead and add some more elements to this page. I've pre-cut some pattern paper strips, and we're going to just cut these into banner shapes. One way to do that is just to cut a diagonal line off the bottom of one. Another way is using that same technique on the big brown cardstock one, is to notch them like this. You can also go a little bit deeper to get a little bit sharper banner shape. So just depending on how far you cut that initial notch will determine, as you can see, this one is more of a shallow notch, and this is a deeper. When you put them on top, you can see a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and add these banner strips to our card. I'm actually going to make this one a little bit smaller. And just by gently lifting that green cardstock, you can add these on. The blue paper is from Pebbles. This green paper is from Echo Park, and this red dot paper is from October Afternoon. And I just like the way the three colors kind of worked well together. So we've kind of layered the banners like that. Now let's dress it up just a little bit with some stickers. These are three-dimensional butterfly stickers from Pebbles, and we'll just add those to the layout like that, or rather the card. And there you can just see a quick and easy way to add scallop borders or Like I said, there are the zigzag, you can get the mini scallop, or you can even get the stripe and scallop style, which looks like this. And they have additional ones inside the store. So get whichever ones you want. All you will need to do this is the tool and then whatever style that you want. So be sure to give this tool a try. I actually really liked it and definitely recommend it. Thank you for joining me today, and watch for another Jen's Jumpstart tutorial soon.